shortage of labor. That was one of the biggest challenge. It was uniform across the country. However, the impact of COVID, if you see, has been geographical. So some areas of country saw a big boom in hotel industry, and some area who were heavily reliant on corporate clientele that got impacted, and they're still being impacted from there. So if you see, leisure took a big jump. States like Florida, South Carolina, even California, Vermont, all the tourism gave so much of boost, and the liquidity was historic. So that phase is wearing out. So effect of that liquidity is wearing out. The corporates started coming back, but we are seeing the headwinds because of the higher interest rate. But overall, hospitality today is less leveraged than it used to be. And one thing I would say, hospitality has always been a cyclical industry. So the cycles are a good thing, and they will continue. So that in this cycle, post-COVID, we are at the stage that we are at the crossroads that where the interest rate policy goes, depending on that, the future few years will highlight the chart that could be different from the past. But we are at a very stable level. COVID, majority of the impacts of COVID are behind us, and I think we see a lot of growth potential in India. Thank you.
Thank you, Bhavesh. So, I guess COVID, interest rates are high now, but that's a very cyclical and definitely expected to go down soon. You mentioned labor shortages, right? That is a systemic issue. But I've noticed that over the past few years, the hotels have really adapted to use of technology, right? You have a lot of keyless entries, you have online checking. Nobody needs to stand in line at a checking desk anymore. Recently, when I was in New Orleans, we had this a huge building full of beautiful apartments and condos, and it was managed by a hotel, and there was 0 people managing it. Right? There was just a monitor with a virtual concierge. So one person could actually manage about 6 or 7 properties. And anybody could go stand in front and converse just like you're conversing with the checking desk. So I think that kind of systemic help from the technology must have totally overhauled or helped ease your labor shortages, right? So I'd like to direct my next question to Raj. So how do you think the buzzword of AI is impacting your hotel industry?
It's still, we are very, very slow industry to follow, very, very slow. Wish we had that before, or wish we can get it sooner. It's going to heavily impact mostly on the revenue side of it, not on the operation much. On the operations side, we have already, after COVID with the labor shortage, we have already got to that level. But revenue-wise, maximizing the profit, that's where it will come in play. And wish we could get it sooner, so that we can sync our rates with the market. Depending upon the occupancy, we can fix the rates, fetch more rates if we see more events coming in. If AI can help us, so we are ready for that to happen.
Thank you. So Patrick. So Patrick is a civil trial attorney. He is certified for the Supreme Court of New Jersey. So I just recently learned that less than 2% of the people actually hold this. So it's a great honor to have you with us. So Patrick, tell us so somebody who's looking to start or get into the hotel business. So what kind of legal risks-wise, or legal or civil risks that they need to be aware of, and what kind of actions they can take to preempt any kind of legal risks?
So the key with the hotel hospitality industry, similar to a lot of other industries, is identifying how to minimize risk. And part of the legal process, legal due diligence, hiring the right attorney that's familiar with that, will help you manage that. So from the time that you identify whether you're investing in a property or identify a property, you need to have proper legal guidance on the process, beginning with identification of issues with the hotel, the franchise agreements that are in place. If it's a partnership, having the proper partnership agreements in place, and the other things that flow from the legal side of having a hotel. For example, is it unionized, is it not unionized? So these are all the legal issues that you want to flag and identify and then work on and minimize them. As was just noted, I'm a certified civil trial attorney, so my firm, we handle the M&A side, the operations side, the franchise side, all the way through the end. But one side that we also handle is the litigation side. And that's one side we don't want to be on. Having things done in the beginning correctly will save time, money, and aggravation later on. And that is important and critical. So the key to managing the risk is to make sure you have the proper legal structures, agreements in place.
So instead of me just asking all the questions, I would like to take some questions from the audience, please. Anybody who wants, please raise your hand.
As a newbie to the hotel industry, I mean, like, as a novice, if I want to start an hotel, what are the precautions you want us to take, and what is the capital you need? And if that capital, let's say if I have like 200 or 300K of capital with me, will that be enough, or is it like buying a job?
Very important question.
Sorry, I would just like to add something to it, right? For a new investor, is it like start with motels, small kind of thing, or just get into the bigger chains? Just narration.
Two parts of it, right? Capital requirement in bigger chain is higher, of course, but the risk can also become lower. I would say, any project that you do, whether small or big, due diligence is a big part of it. Very likely, you will see the hotel industry will be acting as a consortium of few investors that are going in together and buying the asset. Primarily, hotel industry is relatively safer because it's backed by the assets. It does have some real value as a collateral. So the cap rate and the profitability that you might see in other business and the returns that you might see in the other business might look a little bit less lucrative. However, when you combine with the opportunistic tax treatment that is available to the hotel, over the period of holding time, it becomes very attractive. Now, as far as I would say that the amount of capital that differs on every transaction, but I would say that your loan to value is the thing that you want to focus on. Reduce the risk for the first few projects, go with the higher capital and the lower loan. Be very careful on the franchise agreement because once you sign it, you're signing it for 20 years with all the power rested in the hands of the franchise company. They have one-sided arbitrations, and Raj knows better than anybody how much I'm involved into this franchise side of it. So that franchising, it's possibly that it ends up into the situation that you bought a job with your own money, with a boss has nothing to lose on. So you want to be very careful on, read your franchise agreement, consult the attorneys before you sign any document. So I think one of the key area would be that to look after. Raj, you want to add something?
So, someone asked me, Sanjay asked me a question, what is a return on a hotel investment? That's the key question. Right? What do I expect as my investment? So from my personal experience, I have divided my portfolio into two divisions. That's what you want to look at too. It's a cash on cash return, or is it a real estate play? It can be either of it. So if you are going to buy a motel, mostly it's a cash on cash play. You are going to be hands-on more, you are going to operate more, and it's going to be a higher cash return on your investment. If you go on a bigger properties like Hyatt and this, it's more of a real estate play. So that's where you differentiate your role, how much you want to get involved. So if it's a cash on cash play, you are buying a job where you will be hands on hands. But if it's a real estate play, You'll be hands off. Probably you'll get one of the management companies to operate for you, and it's going to be a long term play. So you want to prioritize your goal, which way you want to go.
Thank you. Let's ask a question to Patrick before we come back to it. I just want to keep it varied. So Patrick, I know you've been involved with trials in multiple diverse industries, everything from pharma to jewelry to IT, etc. But tell us about an interesting or an episode or a trial that would be very useful to people and something very interesting that you can come across.
Sure. Being that we're talking about hotels, I have an interesting matter involving a chain of hotels that started several years ago among a few partners. One of the persons came to the table with little to no capital, the other persons came in with capital, and the person that had the least amount of capital was the person that was coming to the table with the expertise and knowledge to advance these hotels. And there was actually a friendship before the business partnership started, and these hotels spanned over a few states, all the way from Rhode Island to Pennsylvania and other parts. So what developed over the years was that the investment didn't turn out to be what the parties thought it would be. Might have been better to have it in a bank CD or a bank account, or maybe nowhere. So what happened in that case is that the partner who represented himself that managed the hotels turned into substantial losses throughout all of the hotels, resulting in the partners that put the equity having to come back in, including most recently having substantial tax and county taxes due for one of the hotels. So the lesson learned there is that even though you go into something and it starts out with someone that you know outside of the business relationship, make sure you know who your partner is, and don't be so blind to just trust someone with your money, only to find out years later that they haven't managed it properly. That case is now continuing. They didn't have the proper agreement in place, the proper operating agreements, etc., and it makes it even more difficult. But ultimately, the person that did all this will pay and will be responsible, but in the meantime, it's a very tough situation. So while an interesting case, it's not a good case, and most cases aren't. The one thing I'm going into my 31st year of practice now, the one thing that I can give advice on in general is litigation is something you should try to avoid. It's red ink and red tape. The key is to get the proper guidance before you get to that point. And I can tell you 4 or 5 things that could have been done differently here that could have avoided the current situation that all these partners are in.
Next question from Chandra.
Hey, we all know, there are risks involved in running these businesses, right? Especially for the hotel, the Airbnb model. It has completely disrupted the way hotels are working. So how do you foresee, going into the future for next 5 years, 10 years, or 15 years, the Airbnb model or any other model will help you to sustain, growth in the hotel industry?
It's a great question, and I like to answer the question that are more future oriented, right? So Airbnb, an amazing phenomenon. What it showed, and I believe it has peaked. If you go to most of the city, the phenomenon has peaked, because to me, from the beginning, it was always a phenomenon that played at the border of zoning regulations between the municipalities. It was just one smart way to avoid a lot of zoning regulation. And I think they're catching into that problem because it has expanded so fast. Now, for the hotel industry, it's dynamic. New type of products are coming in. What I foresee here is there will be a change, and I think industry is ripe for disruption and change. There are a lot of opportunities. I think the consumer perception of the hospitality has been changing, and Airbnb was a catalyst in speeding it up. If you look at it, Airbnb was charging you more money for bringing your own bed sheets while staying at the hotel. Right? So the customer is there willing to pay for the right kind of product. It doesn't have, more science to it, but it's just a common sense, right? So what I see is there will be different type of industry coming in. Franchise companies will innovate. I believe that's a great chance for you to bring some IT perspective. Bring the new products which are totally integrated from the beginning of the booking experience to the checkout and even in the operations, right? So input of IT will be a game changer on it. I believe the check-in process, the front desk will completely disappear. But that's not a big challenge. Usually cleaning and automation of the cleaning process, it will be very critical. That challenge addressed by some robotics and AI might play a role in sustaining it. So I would say that the industry will change, and I think that's where the new entrants or entrepreneurs are coming in, need to make this part of their calculus that, if you're investing into an asset that was built 30 years ago, what do you see is your exit strategy? Is this the asset that's going to be a fit model for the next generation's expectations? And the next clients, or let's say Gen Z or millennials, whoever the new generation client is, are we offering a fit product for the new traveler that's going to come in? So there will be innovation, both from the physical product side, as well as the experience of check-in. That's what I foresee the industry going. Thank you.
Any other questions? Ravi.
So the question is, one more. So my question is, if I want to buy a job, operational manager, right? So I know it depends on location, but from a market entry standpoint, what is the occupancy rate which I should target to be break-even? Thank you.
It's an impossible question to answer. It depends where you are, how much you are paying for the property, what franchise you are operating, depending upon, franchise fee is different, property taxes are different, insurance cost is different. So it's a lot of factors goes in a calculation what your profitability is going to be. Insurance cost in New Jersey is 1/3 compared to Florida right now. But the property tax in New Jersey is 3 times or 4 times the Florida. Depending upon how old your property is, how much the maintenance is, if it's an exterior corridor, interior corridor. So just by looking at the occupancy or a rate, it's very, very hard to tell if it's going to be profitable.
I have a question, Monish. Is it better to buy a hotel or build a hotel? That's first question. And the second one is, how much money do I need to buy a hotel? Is 100K enough or $1 million is good?
Well, buy or build, right? It's always a seminal question. So, depending on which market you want to build first, that's the first question. You want to first choose the location. You don't want to build a hotel in New Jersey. You might want to build a hotel in an emerging area where there are no hotels. Now, again, it all depends on the analysis of the cost, where, how do you want to price it? Look at the market that you want to buy. Look at the revenue that each room in the market is generating as a fair share of market. Based on that, you will do your analysis that based on the occupancy that the market is deriving, can you be profitable by building a new hotel at much higher cost? Yes, you may be. Always there has been a tendency in consumer will always go to new hotel first. That is always the question, right? But hotel renovation sometimes can put you in par with a brand new hotel or even better. Today, the buildings being built are, I think, much lower in quality if you compare to the buildings built 20 years ago. You would have concrete and brick building, which has far more renovation cycle left than a wood stick frame building being built today. So those questions are market specific, market based. How much money you need? I would say that, let's say I'm going to give you a hypothetical scenario. Construction cost per room in the area is typically the guide when you want to build. Typically how much it costs, and it keeps changing. How much money you need? I would always say that always go with a very sizable down payment where you can reduce the risk on your partnership. There will be one or two people who will be leading the partnership, and maybe Patrick can advise you a little bit more on that. When you do the partnership, always keep in mind bank is also your partner. Bank is investing the highest amount of money. They would also like to get some guarantees, personal guarantees. So you always have to make sure that you don't expose those parts where it becomes a problem that you cannot exit or cannot exit without significant cost in any market. But I would say that each state is different, each market is different, cost per room is different in each market. I would say only number that I focus is how much down payment you're putting in there, and do you have an exit plan for this? Those are the only two variables I focus on. I may think it's a diplomatic answer, but that's probably the answer I would consider safe to be.
And just to add to what Malish said, I agree that the greater the down payment, the easier the transaction can become. Going with a more traditional lender as opposed to SBA or other type of circumstances where you have more control over your transaction without having unnecessary requirements that have to be complied with. So I think in your scenario, 100 or $1 million, I would pick $1 million.
Thank you. Next question to Raj. So let's say somebody's made, they've considered all of this and said, let me go the safer route and go buy a franchise with them. And then later they realize there's too many restrictions, this is not where I wanted to go, etc. So how easy or difficult is it then to be able to get out of that franchisee or move to another brand which is much more user or investor friendly, or to go on your own and kind of develop your own brand?
So that's where Patrick comes in picture. Depends how you negotiated your franchise agreement. There is always a clause for liquid damages. It's based usually on the revenue, last year how much you generated. So it's how you negotiated your franchise agreement. You can always get out with the fines, liquid damages. Again, you have to rebrand yourself, so it's a big process. What you did was, I have a Hilton hotel. Now I have sign. Every room has brand things in it. I have to take everything out, and basically it's garbage. And then I have to buy a new. And then I have to go through whole franchise requirements again, starting from franchise fee to something called property management system to sign. So it's a big process, and also a lot of time it's a downtime to get out of one until you are able to get into the other, get all the signs. They will not let you operate as a brand. So downtime is also very important to be looking after too.
And I agree with, based on what Raj just said about how do you get out of a franchise agreement. New Jersey has a New Jersey franchise law, which supports companies, the hotel owners, against these large national franchise companies, Hilton, Hyatt, etc., Marriott, that wield a substantial amount of leverage over you in negotiating the franchise agreement. And largely those franchise agreements are non-negotiable. So when you do pick a franchise, you need to make sure it is the franchise that fits the property, because like Raj indicated, those agreements have very onerous liquidated damage and termination provisions. So if you want to get out, the cost of getting out will be so prohibitive that essentially you're going to be forced to stay in that relationship. Short of that, there are breaches in the relationship where there are certain aspects of it where you believe the franchise company didn't perform. You could try that route. But again, that's very difficult, even though the laws in New Jersey under the Franchise Act support the independent hotel owners. Ultimately, those contracts are very pro-franchise company. So the key is to avoid having to change a franchise flag.
I guess the bottom line is you need a lot of money to change that, so that's why Patrick's leaning towards the million and not the 100,000. Go ahead, Naveen.
Yeah, I have full-time work. If I wanted to own a hotel and I don't want to operate it, suppose that I have a chance to get an 8% cap rate, should I invest in a hotel, REIT, or this one? I mean, what do you suggest? Because we are full-time workers. I'm not operating whatever I'm owning. So it's better to go to hotel or REIT, similar cap rate to the stock market, or what are the comparative investing situations?
Multiple ways to play the hotel market, that's what you're really basically asking, right?
Yeah.
Hotel is a full-time job, don't consider it as a part-time job, okay? It is one of the most hands-on and full-time jobs.
I'm not operating this.
Correct. If you don't want to operate, there are multiple ways you can play the hotel market. A, you can either buy the stocks of the REIT who are operating the hotels. B, you can buy the stocks of the hotel companies, Marriott or Hilton. Or you can just buy a hotel real estate and lease it to an operator. That's another way to play. You can draft some good leases that can provide you some fixed income, probably a little bit higher on side of than the retail or shopping center, but it's one of the good way to invest where you just lease back the hotel to an hotel operator, which then can go and get the franchise. Your risk is limited.
No, both have similar cap rates, so that's the reason.
So I'm sorry, can you repeat?
Both have similar cap rates.
A similar cap rate of
8% they both.
no, but what both means what other thing?
I'm owning in the stock market or REIT.
I'm so sure that you will be, if you pick a time, right? The cap rate of the stock market or the REIT, if you look at cash on cash, probably you'll be okay with it. But there are other benefits that does not go with just stock market, just like appreciation, right? You'll be able to offset a lot of your active or passive income with the depreciation you get in the hotel. So your taxable rate will be much lower than otherwise it would have been. And then the asset appreciation value, that will be also part of the consideration. So everybody should make that decision carefully, but there are pluses and minuses. If you are hands off, I would say that, one thing that you need to carefully think is either you want to invest into REIT, which is just going to go by the stock price, or you will be going into asset and giving it to somebody to operate, where you have full total control of your asset and you get direct benefit of depreciation on your P&L.
Okay, thank you so much.
The other side of the hall is very quiet, so I would request someone to stand up and ask the questions. I know we are all thirsty, this is 5 p.m., so in few minutes we will be having a refreshments.
Thank you, Santosh. So thank you, panel, for good discussions. So somebody wants to be a passive investor, right? Do you taking investments from private investors? Somebody wants to do a hotel development, for example, and they solicit investors and they offer certain return on investment. Do you have any of those types of opportunities for folks here?
We will probably not discuss that on the stage, but I would say that one thing you would, as Patrick said that, right? Whoever you choose as your business partner, and Patrick knows from my person, he's been my attorney as well. So learning curve is whenever you look for any joint venture, investor, passive investment, do your due diligence, look at the offering documents, look at the operating agreements, look at what exit things that you have. Does it fit? Because these are illiquid investment for the period of time that you will be investing. You won't be able to take the money out overnight if you like to. But I would say that whenever you look for any business partners, those are the things that you need to look for. Do you have an exit? Do you have the possible scenario that you foresee that the operating agreement does not address? do a due diligence, hire an attorney for due diligence if you have to. But I would say that anybody offering the investment, you need to do your due diligence carefully. Thank you.
So we had one question from that table here. They've been waiting for some time. So since we are creeping up towards the end of time, I guess afterwards there's a lot of time where you can meet personally with them and get your other questions answered. And of course we could be conducting more sessions in the future. It looks like there's a lot of interest in this space.
Good evening. For first time entrepreneur, what is the advice like the person should put his own personal saving in that as a down payment, or they should go for a SBA kind of loan, or what could be the optimal ratio? The person should save some money for himself for the future and go for the bigger SBA proportional amount. The second question is, in a hotel business, what are the government incentive programs? Are there any government incentive programs for the new entrepreneurs?
I'll answer that question, maybe partly Patrick will answer. So how much money you should put in, that is always going to be a subjective matter, but my rule of thumb from beginning is I will always invest the amount of money that I can make it back in 1 year, and I will not lose sleep over it, right? So that's one way of my rule of thumb, that how much money I'm going to invest with somebody else or in any business. Something that will not make your life difficult if that money is not there. That is a consideration you always must keep in mind. So that's one. And then are there government incentives? There are a lot of government incentives. SBA loans are a good way to start. That comes with a lot of conditions for small business owners. I would always say that take the SBA loans carefully, because on the other side you are dealing with government, and do not make representations that may not be 100% true, or just because somebody said that do this, it's okay. Do your due diligence, especially when taking SBA loans. SBA loan has something called injection of capital proving, and from my experience, what I have seen is a lot of entrepreneurs, just to get the capital together, they'll move money from here or there just to get to the down payment. Be very careful on that. Document it in a way that it does not come and bite you, because whatever I have seen on the prosecution side, those issues are arising from that proving the down payment, or they did not bring the down payment that was required, or it was not a money that was supposed to be an investment, or was another loan. So those are the things that you want to be careful on when you go on the SBA side.
Yeah, just from a legal standpoint, dealing with the SBA as an attorney, I can tell you that you do get funding, you get a larger amount of funding than you traditionally would, but there's a price for that. There's a price with flexibility, there's a price with downturns that may happen later on. So it is a trade-off. I think Malesh gave good advice before, where having a higher or better loan to value ratio sometimes gives you greater flexibility with property. With regard to government, there are some areas where they have redevelopment zones sometimes where there might be some incentives, tax incentives, et cetera, but that's more so if you're building or rehabilitating a hotel that hadn't been prior in use. Those opportunities have diminished over the years, though.
Thank you. Raj, you want any closing thoughts, or can we wrap up?
I'm good, thank you.
Thank you, Patrick, Maulesh, and Raj, for your helpful insights and experience. Hopefully the audience have kind of a little more knowledge to go forward, take this one step closer. So as I said, there's a lot of time where you can hang out here and keep socializing and talk to them one-on-one. Thank you so much.
Just okay. Just before leaving, I would like to invite Srinivas Dargula, Ravi Reddy, and Vinod Kodur to give bouquets to Maulesh, Patrick, and Raj.
Robert.
Thank you, Mani, thank you, Patrick, thank you, Raj. Thank you, Patrick, thank you, Monish, thank you. That was a good class. Okay, I hope that is we had some knowledge from where to go in the hotel industry. Next, shall we call our ATA team onto the stage? పిలిచేద్దామంటారా ఏమంటారు? Yes. ఇంకొంచెం ఎనర్జీ మొత్తం తగ్గిపోయింది హోటల్స్ గురించి వినగానే. ఓకే సో లెట్ స్టార్ట్ టాకింగ్ థింగ్. ఎన్నో సంవత్సరాలుగా వివాహం లేకుండా ఎంతో కష్టపడి తన సహాయకాలు అందిస్తూ ఆట అభివృద్ధిలో తన వంతు కృషి చేసిన ఇతర మహిళలకు ప్రేరణ కల్పించిన ఆట ప్రెసిడెంట్ శ్రీమతి మది భూమినేని గారిని వేదిక మీద సదరుగా ఆహ్వానిస్తున్నారు. ప్లీజ్ వెల్కమ్ మధు గారు. ఆటలో విరామం లేకుండా కృషి చేస్తూ తన వంతు శైలితో తనదంటూ రీతిలో ప్రతి తోడు అలసిపోని విక్రమార్కుడుగా పనిచేస్తూ తన సత్తాతో ఆట వేదికలో జయప్రదం చేసిన మన ప్రెసిడెంట్ జయచల్ల It's a pleasure to invite our board of trustees, Dr. Parashuram Pinnath Reddy garu, Raghuveer Reddy garu, Sharath Redula garu, Srinivas Dagula garu, Srikanth Gudpati garu, and Vinod Kodu garu. Please come on to the dais. Welcome you all to the dais.
I welcome ATA advisors, Sudhakar Perikari garu, past president and advisors, Sri Parmesh B. Reddy garu onto the stage. Ravindra Kodur garu, past president, the humble human from Atlanta, Karnataka Asreddy garu, please come onto the stage. I request women coordinator, Mahila Shetty, Sri Geeta garu to the stage. March is a month where we celebrate Women's Day. So we have a women president from ATA. Let us all give a big clap. I request Srikanth Tumala garu, Vijay Kunduru garu, regional coordinators Dan, Vijay Gangula garu, Pradeep Vilas Jambula, Raj Rimulana. As ATA team, I think for ATA website to run, we need you on the stage. I request Sri Madhu Bhomineni garu to speak few words.
gentlemen, thank you for being here today. We heard from great speakers. I learned a lot from listening to you. I'm really happy to meet and honored to address you today, as I'm also learning about all the things about starting a new business, all the pitfalls or what you need to look for. So it's an exploration and learning together. And thank you for being here today. As a president, I'm very delighted to meet a diverse group of individuals. You know, we're all coming from different backgrounds, different interests, different aspirations and goals that we have. We used to, when we first started, you know, as Indians and then Telugu community, we have grown a lot and very successfully. And then from our 9-to-5 jobs that we used to do, you know, professionals are in the IT, started opening our own business and looking into other ventures. And now, I think it used to be motels are the IT industry, I know consulting and stuff. Now I hear more and more, not anymore the gas station, they might be there, but also I learned yesterday someone starting with plumbing and HVAC business. So there are so many opportunities for us to explore and start, and then to be successful. And then I'm so glad our business chair thought of the idea of having a seminar here today to guide and give some insights and tools to explore and what we, you know, look for, what will work for one in their own goal, or you know what they would like to achieve. So I'm happy, very happy to learn all these things, and I wish all of you are doing the same. And then I thank all the speakers that are here today and everyone from their experiences to share. Thank you. And hopefully by next year when we have this session, some of you will be so successful in starting your venture, you come and give the guidance to the others sitting over there. So we would like to continue to do these, more of these as we go on. But you will have another opportunity in the next couple of months when we have 18th ATA Convention and Youth Conference, which is happening in Atlanta, Georgia, June 7th to 9th. So there will be a 2 days long business community that you can interact, network, learn, you know, for 2 days. So there will be various sessions will be addressed, and then you can also bring your family, enjoy the convention. Over 10,000 people will be there, expected to be there. So it'll be fun. I would like all of you to come and participate there also and plan on it, because great many things are happening. A lot of planning is going on there. So everyone, thank you for being here today for this business seminar. And I wish you all the best in your new ventures. And there will be all, you know, great success stories that we would like to hear in the very near future. And then I look forward to see you in the ATA Convention in Atlanta in a couple of months. Thank you very much.
Thank you, President Madhu Bovaneni garu, for your nice comments and the remarks. Now I request audience to pay kind attention here, please. We have 2 more exciting events coming up, and in the meantime, we are also having a nice refreshments. Children refreshments will also be coming up soon, so please bear with us. I request Sri Jayan Chella, President-elect, to speak few words.
Good afternoon, everyone. I hope you are doing well and learning something new from this business seminar. As you may or may not know, ATA business team is very strong. We've been conducting different activities in the business through seminars. So some of the things I just want to highlight what we do. You know, every 2 years we have mega conferences that happen, and during those conferences we do the 2-day business seminars. And the last one we did was in Washington DC. We had very eminent business people from all over the country here as well as in India attend those business seminar. So, and the next one will be in Atlanta, and the business seminar team, business committee is being formed. If any of you want to be part of the business committee, please come forward and let the art organizers know on your interest, and they will be glad to be included in part of the business community. And second thing is, typically a lot of our business seminar topics and activities were limited to the technology and IT, and we have done multiple startup pitches and invested in the startup companies here in India, here in the US and in India. So those types of opportunities are always there. So our goal going forward to have a broader business community be active, not just in the technology and IT, like to now hotel industry, real estate industry, healthcare and others. So we look forward to doing more of these seminars across the country. We just want to mention, we just did a business seminar in Hyderabad just a couple of months ago as part of Vada Vedukalu, and we had Hyderabad US Consul General attend that. So there the goal is how do we increase the trade between US and India. So Telugu community became, because of its one of the strongest communities here in the US, have a good potential to increase the business between the US and India. So we look forward to more of these business seminars and your active participation in the business community. Thank you all.
Thank you, Jayant Garu, for your kind advice and comments. I request everybody to take a free raffle ticket at the entrance. It's a free raffle ticket. Anything free, we should never leave.
I request Pradeep Reddy Katta and Vilan Jambula to come and introduce Shekhar Varparla.
Thank you, Geeta Garu. Shekhar, please. Attention please, everyone please sit down. This is a very important session. Your estate planning and financial planning, please. Shekhar Varparla, founder of Wealth DNA. For the last 33 years, Shekhar has been providing clarity and confidence, leadership and direction to the business owners. Wealth DNA helps with asset protection, tax planning and estate planning. Shekhar has an MBA. He is a certified financial planner, chartered financial consultant, certified life underwriter and a chartered advisor in philanthropy. Thank you, Shekhar. It's a time yours.
Thank you. Thank you. Looks like I'm the one between more refreshments and drinks, so I'll try to keep it brief. I can't see what's going to be projected, so I think I'm going to just step down, if that's okay.
Attention please. Please, everyone please be seated. దయచేసి అందరూ కూర్చోవాలండి. ఇట్స్ ఇంపార్టెంట్ సెషన్ ఫైనాన్షియల్ ప్లానింగ్. మనం ఎవ్రీ ఇయర్ మొత్తం సంపాదించిందంతా ఎక్కడ సేవ్ చేసుకోవాలి, ఎక్కడ ఇంకొకరికి హెల్ప్ చేయాలి, ఆటాకి డొనేట్ చేయాలనుకుంటే ఈ సెషన్ ఇస్ మోర్ ఇంపార్టెంట్ ఫర్ యూ. థ్యాంక్ యూ.
Thanks, Vilas. So, who knows the Geico commercial? What does it say? Geico. 15 minutes, something like that. Will save you what? 15%? Madhu garu, 15%? So this 15% will save you 1500%. So please pay attention. So I'm going to share a few ideas. I would appreciate anybody asking questions. If I don't know the answer, I'll make it up. Try to give you some insights in the next 15 minutes. So everybody in this room, you know, we heard Maulesh and Patrick and Mr. Bhagia. They're successful entrepreneurs, and counsel is there to guide them. I'm here to tell you that I can't make you more successful. Everybody in this room is already successful. You all know how to make money. What I can show you is how to keep some of it in case something happens, and that's where people like Patrick come into the picture. And counsel will tell you, Patrick will tell you, that it takes only a few hours and perhaps just a few $1,000 as opposed to many years and millions of dollars, because nothing good came out of going up the steps of a courthouse. Counsel, will you agree wherever you are? Right? So everybody knows how to make money. And there's two ways to make money. You can add, which is basically linear, or you can go exponential, which is how you can multiply your wealth. And in the industries that we're dealing with today, with quantum computing, qubits, and everything else, AI, it's exponential. The old way was to work hard, $1 at a time. People are now getting impatient. They're not satisfied with addition, they want to multiply. But with multiplication comes division. Right? When you add, you can subtract. You pay taxes, double digits. When you make a lot more money, you pay a lot more taxes. So I'm just going to show you how to keep more of what you make. I don't have any other messages. I'm not selling a product. My fundamental offer to you, as Vilas said, is to offer you clarity, confidence, direction, and leadership. 33 years ago when I came into the business, it was all about the product. I couldn't wait to sell the product to the guy, at the kitchen table, to the husband and wife that sat in front of me. I was trying to sell the product so I could make a commission. I had bills to pay, right? Over the years, the product turned into a process. So what I did is I kind of improved my craft, and I used a process still to sell the product. Today, after 33 years, what I can tell you is that it's all about the purpose. It's not about the product. So I want to know what's important for you to help you to get what you want, and you can buy the product anywhere. You don't have to buy it from one place. So it's more important to diagnose and find the right prescription so that we can use the process to help you get to the product. So you know how to make money. I can help you figure out how to keep it. So this is a house that belongs to a client of mine. And unfortunately, if you're in the business long enough, all the entrepreneurs in this room will tell you that if you're long enough in a business, you will sue people and people will sue you. And unfortunately, if it doesn't happen to you, bad things always happen to the person sitting next to you, right? They don't happen to you until it happens to you. And asset protection is important, tax planning is important. So, when you multiply your wealth and you can live in a house like this, if you get sued, your house will get divided and you may have to go to something like that. That's why you may have started. This is where you got. Don't go back to this. One thing I have to tell you is that taxes are voluntary. Taxes are voluntary because we have a system of tax laws. The IRS has devised several opportunities for you to avoid taxes. The key word in the spelling is avoid, A-V-I-O-D. I think that's the right spelling, right? Not E-V-A-D-E, which is evade. There's a subtle difference between evading taxes and avoiding taxes. The Internal Revenue Service has several codes. Taxes are voluntary. You can absolutely stop the financial liposuction. Next month, you get the opportunity to give away anywhere from 15 to 40% of your income, not including state taxes. So, if you want to avoid the financial liposuction, I will submit to you that about 4 hours in a year and a few $1,000s with qualified professionals. Just trying to figure out, somewhere along I had a slide, but it doesn't matter. The point is, you have to collaborate with an attorney, with your CPA, and with a financial advisor as a triage, because not one single person has all the answers for you. And unfortunately, what happens in our industry is that we have yet to learn how to work together with other professionals. I have made it my practice to be able to work with a CPA and an attorney and not get into a fight or an argument, but figure out what's most important for you, the client. And that's what it's all about. It's being able to really work with the client who needs to solve several problems. So, I'm not here to give you a lesson in 15 minutes on something that should take 2 or 3 hours or probably a few meetings. But I can tell you that there are several things, several concepts that are little known. Everybody knows that you can form an LLC and that gives you a level of protection. But beyond that, you can use a family limited partnership. This is not to hide or protect your assets by running away. It's simply a way for you to have additional ways in which your assets cannot be reached by a predator or a creditor. There are other concepts that are a little more complex. A ning or a ding, which is Delaware, the nings, dings, Estate, South Dakota. All these states have created ways in which you can not only save and protect your assets, but you can also, when you sell your company, you don't have to pay SALT. Not in like salt and pepper, but state and local taxes. So you can avoid New Jersey taxes. When you monetize, everybody is getting into this business, everybody wants to buy a hotel. For what? To get out of it. And when you do, or any other business, when you get out of it, you not only have to pay capital gains, which is 20% or 23 or 25%, but you also have to pay state taxes. Now, if you register in the state of Nevada, you're not avoiding income taxes, but when you sell your company, I had a pharmaceutical company that sold for $360 million. The next time they will sell the company, it will be for a couple $1 billion. All we did is spend $3,000 with a trustee in Nevada, and when they sell that corporation, they will save over 10% of New Jersey taxes. It's called a name. Like I said, I'm not here to get into every single concept, but what I can tell you is that we can potentially save you hundreds of thousands of dollars, in some cases more than that. Maulesh was asked a question, do you start with $100,000 or $1 million? And he said $1 million. And that's for starters. What he really meant is a few $1 million. But when you get into those kind of situations, eventually everybody gets out, right? You build your enterprise value, and at some point in time you exit, and we're seeing more and more of that. And when you do, you need a strong tax planning team to help you figure out how not to have a financial liposuction, which is giving away 30 to 40% of your money, having worked that hard. So Albert Einstein was always fascinated by compound interest. He actually thought that compound interest was so fascinating, he called it the 8-1 rule. And I agree with that. You will make more money saving taxes than you can by making more money. Well, looks like I'm missing a few slides, but it doesn't matter. I have a process, it's called Wealth DNA. It's a registered process which I founded about 18 years ago. And basically what we do is we have a conversation with you to get to figuring out how fiscally fit you are. That's our second step. And then we work with the CPA to figure out how to optimize your taxes, how to reduce the risk in your life, to protect your assets. And like I said, the most important thing is to find out the purpose why you're working so hard. A lot of people in this room work very hard, and sometimes they forget why they're working so hard. So you need to figure out what your purpose in life is, and we have a process for that. It's called Signify Life. And I have time to spare. I didn't want to use all of the time. I welcome a few questions from anybody.
Shekhar Garu,
Yes.
this is Pradeep behind you.
Yes, sir. Yes, Pradeep.
So I know you are doing or helping out folks with some businesses, but do you also focus on trading, guys who do stocks or ETFs and options? Do you help them out with the taxes? We end up paying a lot of money in taxes.
Sure. So the question was, do I manage money? Do I run money? I have two firms. One firm is Wealth Planning Advisory Group, which is strictly focused on advice. It's more important to know what you want to do when you grow up than it is to take the money from you and just invest it. So my first step of the process is to figure out what you want to do. I have another company, it's called Wealth Planning Asset Management. I have a chief investment officer who runs money, more like a hedge fund. So we do that. And in fact, our ability to mitigate risk is extremely, we have an unfair advantage. If you invest in a market, typically in a year like 2008, you tend to lose 30 to 40% of your money. We figured out a way to lose 10 to 15% of your money in a year like 2008. And at the same time, in a year like 2023, when the market's up 30%, we at least give you those kind of returns. So the short answer to your question is yes, we do manage money. I don't. because passion is important in life. I have the skill set, but I don't have the passion to run money, but I have a company that does.
Okay,
Thank
I'll
you.
be in touch with you.
Pradeep, here.
Hello. Yeah, what is the difference between the family limited partnership and LLC? How the risk is? What are the risk differences between both of them?
Great question. So, a limited liability corporation is simply a way for you to limit your assets at risk to the extent of your company, not your personal assets, right? So, if you form an LLC, somebody who goes after you for wrongdoing, errors in omission, oversight, whatever it is, they cannot reach your personal assets. It's limited to the LLC. However, one additional step you could do is you could create a family limited partnership. In other words, everything that you own, your house, your brokerage accounts, and things of that nature, you create a family limited partnership and you say that in this partnership, I am going to give some of the stock to my children and the other stock I own. I own typically the voting stock, and I'll pass on the financial interest to the children perhaps. You can have two separate corporations in a partnership. So if somebody went after you and they even got a judgment, and counsel is here somewhere so he can clarify. If you got a judgment and the judge says, yes, you won, the creditor has the right to get your money, and you have the family limited partnership. The family limited partnership can decide to declare 5% dividends that year. So if you made $1 million, you have to pay out $50,000, and the creditor has a share of that $50,000, which could be distributed amongst the family limited partnership members, all the members in your family, plus his share. So it's going to take him a few 100 years to get back the $1 million, and the judge will simply say, I cannot control that. I mean, you won, but it's like winning the battle and losing the war. Right? So you could do that. There are other means. This isn't the only thing. Again, I'm not an attorney, I'm a financial advisor. But as an occupational hazard, I do work with more knowledgeable people, the attorneys, that can help you protect your assets in the right manner. So it's all about finding out what's important to you and then working backwards and coming up with a plan that fits your needs, and that's where the wealth DNA comes in. Thank you for the question.
Thank you, Shekhar Garu. Last two questions.
Last two questions. Mahipal wanted to ask a question or a comment or what? Comment.
It's like saying the operation was successful for the patient.
One second. Mahipal wants to say something.
Comment on your previous statement. Saying that the operation was successful, but the patient died.
Yeah, Santosh want to ask a question.
Santosh, yes, Santosh.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for all the information. So this is regarding LLC and trust. What is the minimal entry criteria or whatever for creating a trust? What I heard from few of my other friends is there is certain limit, certain minimal entry, like maybe let's say like I have 2 houses or 3 houses, whatever, right? If it is around 1 million or 2 million, what is the minimal entry you can suggest to create a trust or something like to survive from or to sustain communities who someone who was, right? So what is the minimum stuff what you could what you can suggest us?
Okay. Shekhar, 1 minute. Last question, take it, and then you can answer both. Okay.
I can only answer one question at a time. The mind works serially, not parallelly. But yeah, we'll take both questions and answer one at a time. I gotta make sure I don't forget this question. Just bear with me. I'm not going anywhere. I'm at the back after this. So this is similar to Mr. Bhagia's answer, which is like, it's impossible to answer that question without knowing all the variables. However, I will tell you that a lot of people always are confused about, they're very eager to say, oh, I need a trust. I absolutely need a trust. And then you say, why do you need a trust? So, I don't know. Well, so it's more important to ask a question than to just give the answer. So the answer to your question, sir, is how old are you? How much is your net worth? How many children do you have? When do you want to retire? What do you want to do in terms of disposing your assets in the future? Is it currently the situation where you're dealing with the estate threshold which is going to sunset in 2025? Right now, if you have less than $27 million, you don't need to worry about it because $13 million is the exemption for each spouse as a US taxpayer. But it may sunset to $5 million because Trump decided that in 2014 he's going to, create a system of sunset like George Bush did, and before that Obama did, and everybody is kicking the can down the road. So it may be $5 million. So it all depends. It also depends on your motivation to irrevocably put away money which you may not be able to access, even though you can with spousal lifetime access trusts. And I don't want to use technical jargon to confuse the hell out of myself and you, but the bottom line is a trust is simply a non-natural person. So you create another EIN number and you say, this is not part of my estate. So if that is the motivation, then you do need a trust. But if that's not what you want to do, then you can simply create other vehicles or create grantor retained annuity trusts where you retain the right to get back some of the money, or personal residence trusts or revocable trusts, which means there's estate taxes that will be paid, but you have the right to take the money anytime. So it's a loaded question. I would recommend that you hang out with an attorney who's specializing in trusts and estates, and your financial advisor, or somebody like me. This is not a commercial, it's a public service announcement. And go a little deeper to find out what you really want to do. And that's the answer to your question. The last question, I think, unless we have time for more. Sanjay?
Do you recommend investing in Roth IRA, and when is the right time to invest? Contributing into Roth IRA?
All the time. The Roth IRA is the best thing you can do for yourself, because let me use an agrarian example. So let's say you put a plant in the ground, right? The seed is what you put in for the plant to grow. You get a deduction on the seed when you put it in a traditional IRA, but you pay the taxes on the harvest. So if you wait for 20 years and it's an apple tree and it gives you, 50,000 apples, you pay taxes on the 50,000 apples at 40%. So 20,000 of those apples go away to the government and you get to keep 30,000 apples. The seed was worth $1,000. So you get a tax deduction on the seed, but you pay taxes on the harvest. With the Roth IRA, you don't get a tax deduction on the seed, but you don't have to pay taxes on the harvest. Which would you want? So all day long, I would get into a Roth IRA. A good friend of mine talked to me this morning and said, should I get into a Roth right now? I'm changing jobs and I have a 401k, and should I convert it to a traditional IRA or should I convert it to a Roth IRA? And my answer was, are you going to make money this year? He said, yes. I'm going to go back to consulting and I'm going to be making some money. So I said, why don't you do a backdoor Roth, which means you start with a traditional IRA and you time it because he has at least another 10 to 15 years to retire. So what my advice to him was, why don't you take 30, 50,000 at a time and convert it to Roth and never pay taxes as long as you hold it for 5 years. So once you convert it to Roth, so you have to hold it for 5 years. And after that, you will pay taxes on the exit. Unfortunately, a lot of us are Abhimanyus. You know what Abhimanyu did? He went to war. He knew how to get in, but he didn't know how to get out. So you want to be an Arjun, but you don't want to be an Abhimanyu. Anything else last?
Yeah.
Before drinks are served, one last question or I'm out of drinks.
But isn't there any income limits for Roth IRA?
Yes, there is. Ask your CPA, I'm kind of rusty on that. Something like $160,000 or $180,000. But backdoor Roth, there's no limits to conversion. You can convert all day long. You may not qualify if you are making high income, but you can convert.
You have to pay all the back taxes.
No, only on the amount you convert. And that's where, tax harvesting comes into play. Welcome, Jagdish. So, tax harvesting is simply a way of figuring out your losses and your profits and your charitable contributions. So, you kind of put all of them in a Vitamix and figure out what your lowest taxes will be.
Shekhar, you tell me who said this?
Yeah.
Somebody is sitting in the shade today because they planted a tree some time ago.
Michael, you're a philosopher, man. You gotta tell me who said it.
Warren Buffett.
Shekhar, we have time restriction here, so
Yeah.
I want to find
Harish tells me to get off the stage. I'm already off the stage, but I don't want to be a Mikasura. So I will give the mic away and I won't be an Asura.
Thank you, Shekhar. That was a wonderful session. And a big applause, please. And I request Sharad Premila to give a bouquet to Mr. Shekhar Garu. He's been a wonderful man, all through his helped a lot of communities, and it's a very good person to work with, where I can think work with him. Thank you, Shekhar Garu.
Thank you very much for your advice.
You know what I like really, the most awesome thing about this is very professional. People are not distracted, and I like the orchestra music. Thank you.
Thank you. I request ATA President Sri Madhu Bhogineni garu to come onto the stage. The guest speaker of the event, Ms. Tasha Young Brown, I think Managing Director in EY's National Consulting Practice. I request her to come onto the dais, please. Give a big. Tasha consults with executive leaders in the state, for the state, for the NGOs, and issues related strategic planning, internal audit, accounting, risk management, with a specific focus on leveraging technology, increasing efficiency, and drive innovation. On this, I think you are creating jobs or you are removing jobs with AI. With a deep commitment to her alma maters, Tasha is on the board of trustees for Monmouth University, including serving as a board secretary and an elected official as a member of Board of Education for Long Branch Public School District, where she served as a president and a vice president. Tasha represents the Board of Directors of Eastern Minority Supplier Development Council, an organization that certifies minority-owned business enterprises with corporations for business opportunities. She also leads the EY Entrepreneurs Access Network, which is called as EAN, for the state of New Jersey, a business accelerator to help Black, Latinx, Asians, CEO founders achieve new levels of growth. For any new budding entrepreneur or whoever wants to start a business, now Tasha will guide us with her comments.
Good evening. How is everyone? Fantastic. I know I have a few minutes here and the hour is late, so I will get to a couple of key points here. What I'd like to do today is to talk to you a little bit about entrepreneurship, talk a little bit about some facts, talk about 7 drivers of growth as it relates to entrepreneurship, and then I might give you a little homework at the end. Is that okay? No homework? A little bit? Okay, we'll see. We'll see at the end. So a couple of facts that we already know as it relates to entrepreneurship. So 14% of the world's population are entrepreneurs. 2.5 billion people are employed by entrepreneurship ventures and business. And that has resulted in about 33 trillion, that's trillion with a T, revenue generated by 305 million entrepreneurs. So those are numbers from 2020. Imagine what those numbers are today. So the fact is that we know that entrepreneurs make a difference, that they have great ideas, but they also drive and make them a reality as well. They deliver solutions on the world's toughest challenges through purpose. We heard purpose earlier as well by our previous speaker, but they're bringing fresh thinking and they're bringing innovative solutions to the table. So at EY, and thank you for that introduction as well. A couple of things that I've done across my 28-year career is that I've worked in government, I've worked in healthcare, I've worked in technology, I've worked actually in higher education at Princeton University. I left the firm, came back to Ernst & Young about 5 years ago to lead our higher education work, but I still work with entrepreneurs. So that's another hat that I have on. And my main goal is to find opportunities and create a pipeline for entrepreneurs with corporations. Not only Ernst & Young, but a lot of the big companies that you know of, the JP Morgans, the Goldman Sachs, the Pfizer's. There's a organization called the $1 Billion Roundtable, and it is their goal to find entrepreneurs like yourself and add them to that pipeline. So we talk to entrepreneurs about 7 drivers of growth, and they're across several pillars. I'm only going to go into deep on one tonight, but those 7 drivers relate to people, technology, operations, finance, transactions, risk, my personal favorite, and then customer. And so I'm going to talk a little bit about each of those, and then we'll, like I said, I'll settle on customer. So as it relates to people as a growth driver, if you're an entrepreneur, any organization is only as good as the people that are working for it. To win the war on talent, leading businesses must build an environment that values diversity and attracts and attains the right people. Anyone that has hired anybody, unfortunately fired anyone, knows how important that is. So it's not just about having great people, but it's the right people that are going to fit the culture of your company that shares like your purpose and your vision. And that has been a big challenge even of late and post-COVID, because one of the number one things we hear, especially with employing young people out of college, is this a remote job? People want to work remotely. People, even in businesses where, we heard the hospitality industry, I love that presentation, because I always get a mobile key when I check into the hotel. I avoid the front desk at all costs. I just want to go straight to my room and do whatever I need to do there. And so, but people are necessary in our jobs, right? They're necessary in our businesses. So leading businesses connect their purpose and vision to their people so that they can drive performance management. They include reward strategies. They're driving incentives for their employees so that they can drive their ambitions, so that they can invest in their employees. And we all know that a happy employee makes better business for your overall organization. So we always start with people because that's the important factor. Technology. I heard AI a couple of times earlier today as well. What is the one language that's universal in the world? Anybody? What did you say? Oh, you're an EY alum, you cheated. Yeah, so one might think of language, right? But the language is technology. Technology is the one thing that can communicate in any verbal language, sign language, at all times, communicating information. So it goes without saying that we have to, as business leaders, find ways to integrate technology so that we can work better, quicker, we can make smarter decisions in this rapidly changing world that's supporting our operations. So going digital, using data analytics, and this traverses all industries, by the way. I'm just not talking about corporate America. Just the other day, I went to my dry cleaner, and they said, just drop your clothes off, and we'll send you an automatic text with the amount, and then you can schedule pickup for your clothes through our new online system. I dropped my stuff off and I ran out of there, right? Because I had things to do. And so even your local dry cleaner is enabling technology and what it does. So this digital technology is transforming what we do and how we interact, and really harnessing that technology, trying to automate, trying to move from paper when and where possible, has to be the key pieces. We heard AI, RPA is another thing, so that's robotic process automation. Those are two pieces that are being leveraged now today as well. Another area is around operations, and that's really just finding the right operating model that works for you. So taking like what you're trying to do strategically in your business and then delivering on that. Working with a level of strategy that supports what your customer needs are, but then also innovating around whatever industry you might be working in. So market leaders are driving continuous improvement by improving on their operations on a daily basis. And this is from what you do from a customer perspective to you thinking long-term, 10, 12, 15 years out. But the goal, because we learned this post-COVID and during COVID, is that you have to be extremely flexible in your operating model. And we unfortunately have heard the stories of businesses that haven't survived because they couldn't pivot effectively. Finance, we need money, we need capital, we need funds. That is the first thing I hear from entrepreneurs. Can you give me some money? Can you write the check? The unfortunate thing, well, the fortunate thing is there are investors out there, we heard this earlier, a lot of the big banks, if you will, are investing in businesses as well. We heard about the SBA loans. I completely concur with some of the strategies that were said there. But the point is, it's not just about writing the check, but it's about having the right strategy and plan behind that. I have an unfortunate experience of working with an entrepreneur in the last couple of years that not only had deep investment from some of the big banks, but were also, this company was on Shark Tank, it was on The Profit. I mean, every possible opportunity that most entrepreneurs would, probably go to the end of the earth to have. This company had these opportunities and they squandered every opportunities, millions and millions of dollars, because they didn't have a strong, sound business strategy for the capital they were trying to get. So make sure that when you're thinking about finance, you're thinking about how you leverage your capital, that you're also, again, strategic about it, commercial about it, and that you have a good, strong economic advisor. The last speaker, I think it was Shaker, mentioned your CPA. I'm an accountant as well. We don't always have all the answers, but your accountant and your lawyer will be your best friends in business. You probably already know that, so that's short. Now, I wanted to spend some time with customers. So, leading businesses make customers their focal point. We know that the customer is always right is a thing that people used to say. It's not always the case. But understanding your customers' needs and their desires and how you need to gain that competitive edge is really the important part from a customer perspective. So even after becoming a leading business and a market leader, you constantly have to think about your customers' needs and keep engaging them and do it differently as the customer market is changing as well. So a couple of things that are food for thought, and these are sort of 10 questions or 10 really thoughts that I want you to think about as you anchor on potentially these growth drivers, but also customers as a driver. So for all my business people, whether you're new in this space or you're more mature in your business, do you know what your customers currently need or what they want? So this is not necessarily what you give them, but is what are their needs and what do they currently want? Do you even stop to ask such questions? One of the drivers might be to put into your business some methods by which you talk to your customers to understand what they're doing. It could be a survey, it could be a text message, whatever the case may be. What would make the difference between satisfying and delighting your customers? That's the second question. So if you're asking that, what do they need? What would make the difference, right? Is there a gap between what you're doing versus what your customers want? Going back to technology, are you leveraging data? Are you leveraging analytics? Are you leveraging technology to give you the right insights? I worked with a university not too far from here, and they started doing these things they call pulse checks. So they just do surveys and pulse checks of their staff, faculty, and students to see how they're doing. They're a university, they're going to provide classes, they're going to, provide education, but that has to be fit for purpose, and so they're doing that often. Do you have the right processes in place to understand what your customer experience is? That's really important. You can't, if you have a large customer base, you can't speak to everybody all the time. So do you have a way of checking in with them? And don't be afraid to ask the hard question and be prepared to receive the answer. That's an important part. Could digital technologies play a bigger role in your customer experience? So my dry cleaner just changed my whole entire life the other day because they gave me back 20, 30 minutes of sorting, and they're actually going to deliver my clothes. I'm coming back to that place, and by the way, I told all of y'all about it, and so if you're in the Long Branch area, you might want to seek out that dry cleaner as well. How could your marketing, so when you think about customers, you automatically go to marketing, but it's deeper than that. It's about having a relationship with your customers. So how can your marketing be different? It's not just about the email, the text message. Now you can send the text messages to spam, or you can turn off unknown numbers. Not everyone can afford a commercial. So what are you going to do, right, when it comes to advertising and meeting your customer base? And then the last question I wanted to leave you with is, what is the lifetime value of a new customer? Right? How do we drive and make more connections with our customers by trying to think of them beyond the transaction, but really trying to create a relationship with them? So as you're progressing in your businesses and you're thinking about, and you're an entrepreneur, especially if you're a sole proprietor, these questions might lay heavy on you, but if you do have a business with multiple employees, it's important to just check in with yourself and your coworkers and your employees, at least quarterly, to start to dive into how do we drive growth in our business. It's a big question to ask, but those that as CEOs and as entrepreneurs, you want to make sure that you are working on your business as well as in your business. That's the important point. I think I'm done. So no, I do thank you for the opportunity today to come and talk to you a little bit. That is my real name, my whole name. You can find me on LinkedIn as well if you have any personal questions or any questions about your business. EY has a number of entrepreneurship programs, not just the Entrepreneurship Access Network. We have a program called Entrepreneurial Winning Women, just for women. We have a program called Entrepreneur of the Year for high growth entrepreneurs, and that's a global program as well, and the EAN program is national. But if you ever need anything, you know where to find me. Thank you so much for your time this evening.
Thank you, Natasha. That was wonderful address. Could you please give her a big applause? And a request to all the women in this room, please come onto the stage. All the women in this room, please come onto the stage to facilitate this. Please, everyone here, if you could please come onto the stage, appreciate that.
I request all the ladies in the last back side, please come onto the stage.
Thank you everyone for coming today. Thank you, Natasha, for being here today. Without women, I think we all men wouldn't be in this world without women. So thank you and happy Women's Day to all of you. This is the day I request everyone to please stand up and give all the women a big clap, please. Please shout it. Wish happy Women's Day to them. And again, we pray without a woman, none of us men would have been here in this world. Thank you.
My only request is don't celebrate just on the International Women's Day or the month, every single day. Thank you.
I request liquor panel. Before the liquor panel begins, the bar is open. So I request the guests to have some refreshments. I request Sri Sharath Vaibula Garu, entrepreneur, President Reddy Spirits, to come onto the dais. The month of March, state of New Jersey is also celebrating Black and Asian Women Month. So give them once again a big applause. I request by right CEO Aditya Patina to come onto the dais. Sharath Vemula Garu. President Reddy Spirits to come onto the dais. I request young entrepreneur Sri Chandra Dasari, President Wines and Liquors, and ex-UIN, UI alumni to come onto the dais. The bar is open for the guests now with being the liquor panel. So whoever is passionate and ready to rock into the liquor industry, so here let us all pay kind attention and hear their thoughts. So I request Sri Sharath Vemula Garu to speak a few words.
Good evening, everybody. I'm Sharath Vemula, and I'm into this retail business, especially liquor, from last 15 years. And it was before that I used to run gas stations and drugstores in Rochester, New York, upstate New York, and I'm here in New Jersey from last 10 years in retail liquor industry. Thank you.
I'm Aditya Patina from By Right Liquors. We're a franchise of about 50 locations in New Jersey. The franchise has been around since about 1975, and my family's owned it since 1997. And we've been in the business since we came from India in 1990.
Hi, I'm Chandra Dasari. I have been in the liquor industry for almost 14 years, running multiple liquor stores. I have a lot of other businesses. I'm primarily an IT guy, and then moved into financial risk management, working for a lot of banks and top 4 consulting firms. But my passion drove me to become an entrepreneur. Put the synergies between how the retail businesses run with the emerging IT technologies, and how do you make an ecosystem that can survive these retail businesses for the future. That is where my expertise is, and I will be happy to share some of my thoughts.
Aditya Patina, the CEO of By Right Liquors, who owns 2 liquor stores in the state of New Jersey. He majored in finance and then earned masters in real estate finance from NYU. Professional career began working in a prestigious financial leadership program at J&J. He joined his family-owned business. That means he's in the second generation of family-owned business. Aditya always thought about philanthropy, but the family's experience, that is his mother's experience with cancer, gave him an inspiration to think big. Aditya also enjoys meeting the people he is helping and wants to mentor children in need. He is an avid sports fan. I request Pradeep to speak few words on the profile of the Chandra Dasari.
Personally, I have known Chandra for some time, so I can ironically read it from here. So he has gone through some tough times. He has seen some, since you mentioned that he has been in the liquor industry for 14 years, it's not been an ideal journey. He has seen hardships, but he has survived. And I have seen him grow from 1 store to 2 stores to multiple stores right now. We are happy to have you, Chandra, on the dais. Very glad that you're sitting in the panel today and be able to share your experience. Welcome and looking forward to hear from you.
Thank you, sir.
My first question is to Aditya. being a second generation in liquor industry, what is your advice to the people who are passionate and interested?
I mean, the biggest thing is, for me, what allowed me to succeed as a second generation business owner is that my father was not a micromanager. He was very hands off. He let me do my own thing and really kind of grow into the role I'm in today. He was certainly there to support me, but I've got other family members where it's not the same situation, so I was very lucky for that. But in terms of people that are younger that are looking at the business, I would say number one thing is, be passionate about what you're doing. Because if you just come into the business to make money, I don't think that's the right approach. I don't think you'll succeed. And frankly, one of the reasons I'm in the business even today, after 32 years of my family being in it, is because I'm passionate about it. I enjoy collecting wine. I enjoy hosting wine dinners. I enjoy traveling to wine regions and connecting with my customers. So I think part of this business is a very social type of business. I think it's great for people that like to socialize and meet other people. That's one of the great pluses of it. And it's a great business if you really want to work hard, but it's not the kind of business where it's a part-time career. You've got to really be invested at the beginning and put the time and effort. And then if you're willing to do that, then long-term, there's a lot of things that you can do from there.
This is for Chandra. As a first generation into the retail industry or retail liquor industry, what were the challenges you faced in the beginning till date, and what kind of AI or any technology is gonna play a role in the retail industry for survival?
Santosh, that's a very good question. As you know, we collectively started retail business 14 years back. It was heavily dominated by mom and pop kind of environment where you have to invest, you have to...
I request everybody to please calm down and sit down, please. It's a very nice, informative, interactive session. I don't think you will get these kind of sessions anywhere till date. I would request the audience to please stay calm, get your food and get out to the table, please. Sorry, Chandra, go ahead.
Yeah, thank you. So for initial 3 years, 4 years, just like any other retail operator, we have been struggling, going there, trying to do day-to-day kiosks. It became unmanageable. We soon realized we cannot operate any retail business like this. Even if I operate, even if I run it for next 5 years, 10 years, it's not going to last. It's not going to be given to my next generation. And that is where my passion. I'm like an IT graduate from IIT Kharagpur. I know the technology, I know what is coming in. That is when I try to overlay the IT, build an ecosystem. Why just Walmart or big retail firms are doing it? Why can't smaller firms can adopt these technologies step by step? You don't have to go and spend 100K, 200K to adopt it. But can you do it? Can you adopt this technology and run the businesses offline? I am a off owner, which means I never go to the stores, but I use technology. For example, there is AI, such as just gave a prologue, right? If you don't digitize, you are gone in no time. And that's what we did. In the last 6 years, we have extensively adopted technology like AI, surveillance like cameras AI, right? With that, I can today have 16 Chandras in every store, monitoring every aspect of my business. Whether my employees rightly addressing my customers, whether my inventory is properly stocked on the shelves, what is my inventory management happening, where is the theft, what is some suspicious activity happening. Everything comes to me online. Today or even now, if I'm sitting here, it's because there is 16 Chandras in every store working there, looking after my business, making sure it is working properly. So we have invested. The investment was a little bit more, but when we look at into the future, we realize that the amount of returns we are getting is 30-40% more than any other traditional retail businesses of how they are operating. So I would suggest for anyone, just not look at retail business, especially liquor is a very lucrative business. But if you invest it right, and if you have the right ecosystem, that is going to last for next 15, 20 years. It's not just for you, it's for your next generation also, can take care of it and then get the legacy from you.
The questions are open to the public. So, to the crowd, this question is for Sharad Vemula. Based on experience in your gas station experience, retail experience, and now into the liquor experience, what is your advice to the young, budding, interesting entrepreneurs who want to step into the retail business? And what do you think that can it be as a passive investment, being a retail investment, or is it a kind of full-time job? Your thoughts on that, please?
Getting into liquor retail business, it's kind of easy to want to invest in it, but when you have time, like in the liquor business, every business is affected in the COVID time. But whereas in the liquor business is grown up. Like some stores, they've grown up, they went up to 50% more business in the COVID industry. But all other businesses, they are down to 10%, some to 10, not even they need to open their stores in the COVID. But whereas in the liquor, we didn't get to operate 2 stores. It was a very big challenge in New Jersey because we were not having employees who were working at that time because they took off and they were not showing up. But when you take it as a challenge, when you as an entrepreneur, you need to put full time in it. When any employee is not showing up, you should be ready to operate as a cashier. When an employee doesn't show up, you should be ready to do the inventory. So counting from the inventory to the selling and to depositing in the bank, every day you have to be present at that store. Whatever time you are spending on at the store, it has to be when you go to store, I don't even count 8. I stay for sometimes 6 hours, sometimes 10 hours, sometimes 2 hours, but I don't feel like spending more time in the store. But you have every minute you can enjoy in the store by meeting the customers, improving the new products and everything. I would suggest whoever come into this business, at least 4 hours a day. If they put the 4 hours a day at each store, then they will grow up and the business is liquor business is always, even people they are losing money, whatever they want to enjoy that moment, they go to the liquor store and grab the liquor.
Thank you, Senator.
Hello. Yeah. Thank you, sir. Thank you for all the information. So this is for the starters, right? We have been thinking, even from my friends group, we have been thinking to enter into the liquor business. But for us, we don't know where to start, right? While we are talking with others, there are 2 things we always start, right? One is the licensing cost, and the other one is the investment to start with, right? What I heard in New Jersey is really difficult to get a licensing, or the cost is, it's not, maybe it's more than 2 million or 3 million, I don't know, but cost plus investment, what it would be?
Licensing system, Aditya might explain, but I explain everybody who wants to enter this business, any store, go to any store.
I request the audience to please stay calm. There is a valuable information. We have some audience asking the panelists. I would request them please stay calm down for a few more minutes.
I request entrepreneurs who wants to be in liquor business, work at least 2 months in your friend's liquor store or if you want to like at least 4 hours in the peak hours, like 4 to 8 in the evening every day, like work for 2 months, then you will get knowledge on the products and how how to operate. Then get into this business, like licensing system, like all over like different states they have their own policies, but anywhere in US, like a person can or a corporation can own only 2 liquor stores, and getting the licenses in New Jersey, you need to buy from the previous owner. You can apply for the liquor license, whereas in some states, in New York, like New York kind of states, you can go and open 2 stores. Like even the city is not offering licenses, but still you can open a liquor store in New Jersey, in New York. Whereas in New York, New Jersey and Virginia, there is a policies, different policies. But I request Aditya to explain about the New Jersey policies.
So the licensing values can vary quite a bit depending on which town you're looking at, and it's typically a function of population. Every town can issue a license for every 7,500 people. So up north, like let's say Jersey City, Newark, and places like that, you have a lot of liquor licenses. And then there's some towns where you only have 1 or 2. And the license values up north can be as cheap as $250,000. But they also go up to 1.6 million. So that's a big range. And ideally, the more you spend for your license, the bigger the store has to be. You're not going to spend $1 million and open up a 3,000 square foot liquor store. That just wouldn't make any sense because you have to do a certain amount of volume when you go to sell the store for it to make sense for you to invest $1 million just in the license, right? Because besides the license, you're also going to spend, depending on the quality of the materials you use, at least $500,000 to build out the store, depending on the size of it, plus inventory to open it. Especially where I'm speaking from is in my franchise, the average store is at least about 7,000 square feet. The smallest we'll consider is probably 5,000, so our stores are on the larger size. But I would say the minimum investment for somebody in my franchise is probably these days closer to 1.5 million, somewhere in that range minimum, not including real estate. And obviously you probably have to put down at least 25 to 33%. Maybe the rest can be financed through SBA or traditional bank. But that's what makes it challenging today is besides the license cost, if you want to buy an existing liquor store, the values are through the roof right now because everybody that got in after the COVID numbers like he was mentioning, they see the business is kind of almost bulletproof, so everybody wants to get in now. And the other day I was talking to one of my own franchisees trying to find a buyer, and I don't believe in paying multiples of revenue, I believe in paying multiples of EBITDA for valuations. And this person told me they wanted 100% revenue for their business, which is crazy, you know? Used to be about 30, 40 cents on the dollar, so when people are talking about numbers like that, it's very hard to get into business right now.
Yeah, this question is again for Aditya. Aditya, I have read that Buy-Right has a turnover of 800 million per annum. I wonder like how somebody could grow such a big company and such a big 800 million per annum.
It's not that much. But I would say the average Buy-Right probably does somewhere in the range of $4 to $5 million volume. So it just depends on the size, and obviously our biggest stores will do 15, 20 million plus. It's not easy to find those kind of stores. Those kind of stores in New Jersey, there's probably 10 of them, 15 of them throughout the whole state. That's really a function of finding the right real estate. So my family is also in the real estate business, and one of the big things with liquor stores traditionally was location, location, location. But I think the game is changing today because, especially through COVID, delivery service is so big now. So now if you don't have the prime location, but you have the right technology and you have the right infrastructure and marketing, I believe that you could probably still do a lot of business, whether it's delivery through New Jersey, and one of our stores also ships throughout the country, so e-commerce is a big additive. Obviously very complicated because now you're competing against everybody in the whole country. But if somebody's willing to do it and spend the resources and maybe we can talk about the technology aspect, I think today there's a lot of opportunity to have big businesses.
I just want to add something, there was a question also. As Aditya and other guest panel were saying, right? The ability to make an existing store is much easier than building it up from scratch.
because there are a lot of risk aspects that you need to look at it, and there is a huge possibility that you will lose it rather than be successful. And after COVID, because it's a bulletproof business, the prices have skyrocketed, but yet it is still giving you a lot of positive returns. That is why the prices are going up. But being an investor, you have to do your due diligence. There are stores that do like $1 million per annum, to stores like 15, 16 million. You can identify the range that you want to invest, the amount of risk you want to take, and then venture into it. As Sharad sir is also saying, right? It's important that you need to be on the floor for first few months to learn the nuances of what it is. What happens if tomorrow morning your employee doesn't come? The technology is there. The technology could take out 90% of the work, but the 10% of work is still has to be done by the owner. And if you don't know what is happening, there is always a possibility that you will never be successful. Because being an entrepreneur, the whole gist is understand where the loopholes are, where the barriers are, and how do you overcome using your synergies from somewhere else, being IT or being technology or being digitization. You can always add on this overlay on the businesses and make them as profitable ventures.
I want to add one more thing. As Chandra said, look for the existing stores which are making minimum 2 million sales. With the real estate would be very good to make at least breakup.
I have another question. In the retail business, now we are seeing shoplifting, theft by the employees and by the regular customers or unknown customers. How are you guys being young, both of you guys young into the business? I mean, 15-20 years of experience. What is the guidance you're gonna give, and how you are preventing theft measures? I know it's not foolproof, but what are the measures, and what is the advice you're going to give to the newbies?
Okay. Using traditional methods, there is no way we can restrict that theft. You are only one person, you can have another 4 employees, it is just going to drag into your gross profit. I don't think it is a viable solution also. And as Santosh said, there are literally even employees can steal all the time. Now how do you restrict it? There is a lot of technology that came out. People are calling it as AI today, but they have been existing for many, many years. If you go to your surveillance cameras based on OpenCV, there are video analytics. And I can help you out, if you are interested, how you can overlay each of your camera in your store can become a person monitoring real time and giving you an update, whether it is like retail, whether it is medical, whether it is any other small business that you want to do. The technology has advanced and we all need to embrace it. If you can embrace that one, then you can grow. It's not just one business location you are looking at, you are then looking at multiple business locations, coming up with new ideas. America is like, land of opportunities. If you have an idea, you can resell it. It's not just retail. You will be like, having your own company and firms. So our strong belief was in technology, investing in technology, which we have done, which we are reaping like rewards in the last 5 or 6 years. And because of that, we are going exponentially right now. Because anytime we take over a new retail store, it takes like 2 days to 3 days for me to set up, get into the cloud, and make sure I have all my eyes open, and then boom, it is ready. All you need to do is get 1 or 2 good employees, make sure that you understand the logistics there, just move on. That's all. That is the comfort zone that the technology is giving. So I would strongly recommend embracing technology, adopting an ecosystem that helps you to grow yourself as well as grow the community.
Yeah, so it's a very good, so you actually talked about new technology that you can invest into the retail. That's very good, but if we invest into this kind of business, can we make it like, do we need to be at the store like every day, or can we make it like, non-owner operated business?
If you're gonna do non-operated, I don't recommend it. I think it's a very risky business if you're gonna operate that way. Maybe if you have a family member or somebody you really trust who's going to be there for you, you might succeed. But at least for the first couple of years, you need to be there. Even when I was in the business, I grew up in the business my whole life. And when I opened up my store in Jersey City back in 2009, I probably put in 60-hour weeks for the first year and a half. It was very important for you to understand every aspect of that business before I give it to somebody else, right? You have to know every job before somebody else has. Otherwise, how are you going to know if they're doing it correctly? So I think at least in the beginning, you have to really dedicate yourself. And then certainly over time, if you find the right people, you can hand that off. But I don't recommend coming in as an absentee. It's very challenging. I've seen some IT guys that have come into my franchise where, let's say, 4 partners coming together, each of them says, look, I'll put in 10, 15 hours of my part-time. I found one team that succeeded, but I found many that didn't. So it's very challenging, because partnerships are very difficult as well. Most of them end really badly. So I would say, especially looking at partnerships, try to have really good exit clauses. It's unfortunately like a marriage where you have to think about divorce up front and just protect yourself, because otherwise it gets really messy. But overall, I think it's a business where you really want to be there hands-on, at least for the first few years.
Yeah, Madhu. Getting into this business is easy, like as a partnership firm or like a couple of partners. Getting into this business is kind of easy. It takes maybe 6 months to 1 year to open the store as a partnership or ownership. To exiting from this business, it takes a long time. You may find the buyer or not, or your partner won't buy from you because he wants to hold your ratio in it. You want to postpone the settlement. So getting into this business, until and unless you want to involve personally, at least 20 hours a week, then you will get into this business. And as Santosh asked for the stealing and shoplifting cases, people will come in the BMW X6 and they steal the liquor, not the big bottle, $30, $50 kind of bottle. There is everywhere. The stealing or shoplifting is everywhere, every store the faces that. But as people may know or not, we are doing cameras outsourcing. They watch every minute of each and every camera. That's another option. But again, the employees may steal it. I have some couple of experiences. Our own employee, when he was he closes the store, he turns off all the lights, and he steals something. By walking, he holds in his hand and he puts it in his pocket. If you watch that kind of stuff, if you watch, explain to the employees, then we will be in good shape.
I just wanted to add one thing. Remember, liquor's business is highly regulated, which means as an owner, you will be liable for all the activities of your employees. Selling to underage people, getting stale inventory. There are so many things that NJ regulators have regulated it. So being an absentee owner is a very risky proposition. As other sir is saying, right? You have to be eyes, you have to be the lifeline of your business, which means without knowing each and every part of it, you cannot do justice for it. So at least initially put yourself, because in the long term, there is a lot of good returns that are coming up. Why everybody is not being successful here is not investing that enough time to learn your business, change it accordingly. The ecosystem has been changing. People are not targeting $100 bottles anymore. They are targeting $15, $20. Imagine small guys coming in, taking the shots, $1, $2. If 20 people, 30 people do that one every day, you are done. Your 50% of the profits are gone in that day. And it is highly difficult to catch up people like that. So you need to understand how do you organize, how do you put your floor planning, and how do you curtail this. It all comes only because you are a passionate entrepreneur
You have to invest yourself and then you make amendments. If somebody is selling, always remember, he has problem in running that business. He has given up, running that business, and you are taking over, which means you have to step into his shoes. You have to make the amendments, work on it, and make it into a profitable venture.
Thank you, panelists. Audience, you have any more questions? So with this, we'll wrap up the liquor panel. By end of this year or early next year, I think many ATA members will be starting their own liquor business. We always receive calls, messages about the advice and guidance. ATA is always here for ATA members and non-ATA members. ATA is always here to help the community, grow together, serve together. I thank you once again to all the panelists. I request Dr. Parshram Pinapreddy to come onto the stage and give the bouquet to the SDU panel.
Also, I request Ravinder Gunduru and Vijay Gunduru, please come on to the dais.
And lastly, Santosh, we have like 10 to 15 business owners, liquor store owners in ATA itself, and you can contact them, you can ask them any questions, and you can take any advices from them.
We have ATA helpline, so you can reach out to the ATA helpline. We have president and president is smiling for any advice or guidance. So their questions will be directed to these panelists here. So we are always ready to help. I request Vijay Gunduru to give a bouquet to Sharad Vemla. Ravinder Gunduru and Parshram uncle to Chandra Dasar. Request President Madhugar to come on to the dais, please. President-elect Jayant Chellagaru to come on to the dais, please. We have many liquor store owners in the crowd here who are always humble. Audience, we have a surprise free gift from Maipal Reddy, New York Life Insurance. Is everyone ready yet? We have a free gift coming up. We have a raffle prize. Maipal Reddy, please come on to the dais. DJ, where is my prize? So New York Life, Mike already is sponsoring a free raffle for the Art of Business seminar. So, who is ready for the surprise present? We don't need any reference or recommendations as long as your number matches. That's enough.
My number matching. My number is matching.
I don't want to take any names and miss out any names. So I just want to be universal and say thank you, Bata, thank you for giving me the privilege to introduce Mrs. President. And let you introduce Mrs. President. That's the privilege you gave me. Thank you, Madam Mrs. President. I'd like you to close the video.
It's a time for raffle.
Time for a free gift.
The number goes to, no, it's a number. Everyone take out your coupons and please read. 3700666. No. I think it is lost or I repeat it. 3700666. No modifying.
Oh, congratulations. What is the number? 3700666. Congratulations. Congratulations, Nagaraj. See, you got a free seminar and you're going back with a free gift and with a good amount of knowledge. So by next year you're starting a new business.
Hello friends, the winner gets a Samsung Galaxy Watch Active.
And thanks to my partner for getting me this gift from the online.
Thank you everybody. Thank you Mrs. President for giving me the opportunity to call you Mrs. President. Thank you Mrs. President and all the other ATA members. I don't want to list any names, so thank you ATA.
Thank you everyone.
I think this is the last part of the session and thanks to all my friends, especially a lot of my reserve friends have been here and a few other friends who have come on my behalf. A big thanks to all of you and also a big thanks to everyone who have come over here to this session. Hopefully we were helpful to you and we will have more sessions like this.
On behalf of NJ ATA team, I would like to thank the guest speakers who took time on Sunday afternoon giving useful and valuable information and sharing their experiences. Thanks again to Maulesh Patel, Raj Vaidya, Patrick Pailia, Shekhar Vemparla, Tasha Brown, Chandrasekhar Dasari, Aditya Vartineni, and our Sharad Memla. I thank our President Madhu Bobini Garu, President-elect Jayan Chelam Garu, and dedicated ATA team members to be here on this special day. The event is not done yet. We have the fundraising event followed by dinner, so please stay back. Thank you all.
ఈవెంట్ ఇంకా అయిపోలేదు, 9 o'clock వరకు ఉంటుంది ఈవెంట్. జస్ట్ హ్యావ్ ఎ డిన్నర్ అండ్ డ్రింక్స్ లెఫ్ట్ సైడ్ ఉన్నాయండి, అందరూ ఎంజాయ్ చేయండి. 30 minutes just break and we will start the program continuous. And we need some volunteers. Please come to the left side. Volunteers, please. Now singers time andi. Madhu Devapalli. I request Madhu Devapalli, please come on to the dais. ఇక్కడ వాళ్ళు సింగర్స్ టీమ్ వచ్చింది. Let's enjoy the songs. Thank you Madhu garu. It's your time. Thank you Vilas.
Thank you Aga for giving us this opportunity. Now we are going to present few songs with Raji and Sita Bhattu. Please make your way to the dais. Santosh sir. Check. 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 Audio connection.
Hello?
Check, check.
Hello? Hello?
ముందుగా లేటెస్ట్ సెన్సేషన్ మూవీ సీతారామం నుండి ఇంతంతో అంటూ ముందుకు వస్తున్నారు మన ముందుకి.